And we are live.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Hello, all that are watching, and welcome to a little bonus episode for Nowhere to Hide, as last time was the finale, where I think the players ended up with, well, you'll see why I consider it probably the best ending they could have got. But in this, we will be, I'll be discussing, my notes for this campaign, considering how far different than they went. The fact that it is like one of my first games that I've completed from start to finish in over 10 years. We'll ask some questions back and forth, and considering that the dear old party will be uh asking questions as well, you guys can ask from the chat if you're here while it's live. And if you have some questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll try and respond when I can. After that, yeah, we'll do some rankings and we'll have a little bit of fun. Nonetheless,
Yeah.
how's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing all right.
Chilling, yeah.
Oh yeah, while we're here, I just realized that that this is the direct screen that you have for streaming, and we never got to see it up close because, well, the streamer was in front of it this whole time.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's
yeah,
not
you
too
get this.
different from your standby screen. However, now you can see a little dude.
Yeah, there was a little dude there the whole time. It was supposed to be like a hint towards the zombies, but
Oh.
yeah.
I mean, I think you did a really good effect with the headlights.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that one was by sheer accident. I didn't.
Wait, is there a bomb on the back of the Chinnebago?
No, I think it's a
Oh no,
communicator.
that was supposed to be like a tracker blocker or something. There was
Uh,
supposed to be a little bit more based on triangulation and the weird development of things. But what's some more interesting places that I wasn't expecting. Either way, how long do you think until you can get the PowerPoint online?
Oh, no, I had it ready the moment we went up. I just needed to do that first.
Oh, okay, dokie. In that case,
It's just
I
not
believe.
showing because obvious reasons.
In that case, I shall use my magical DM powers to ask you to make it visible.
Uh-huh. Yep. Unfortunately, I can't move us with it, but...
Yeah, that'll
That's
probably be fine. Wow. That is okay. That actually still works, and then it'll look more normal when the roll 20 comes up. But
Yeah.
for now, behold my weird notes and the changes that I had to make as we get into the post-morteming. And I suppose I'll be saying this every time.
Multiple times.
Next slide.
Yep. Clutch, how dare you cut out your own word.
Did I? Oh, I did. Oh no, I Mike Wazowskiing it.
Well, no, you should be behind the thing.
Actually, it's kind of funny because I just realized I made a typo.
Yeah.
So
You're
luckily I
blocking the
hided it
typo.
because it's completed.
I thought you did
But
it on
no,
purpose.
I'm a genius. I planned this all along. But this is the second one I wrote start to finish, but the one that was first, stopped halfway through for its own reasons. But as this is one of my first completed ones, I did learn an important lesson, which is, next slide, yeah, fuck railroading.
Mm-hmm.
Railroading sucks. Do not have a plan, but expect for it to change.
The railroad
Because-
can be there. However, it is up to
Oh,
the
yeah.
players how much of that they follow.
No, see,
Oh,
you
yes.
gotta set up a multi-junction station with all possible different rails and tracks that can lead to different places, and you can switch the rails and do all that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, that's sort of eventually how it developed, but effectively it was me putting parts of the railroad in different places and switching around.
I like
You
to
just-
call it the Infinity Train.
Hooray! That is
Or
also a
just-
very good show.
Or the train is still in construction as we're moving.
Yes. It's like
Just
Wallace and
placing the
Gromit, putting
tracks
down
in
the
front of you the
railroads.
whole time.
Precisely.
Quick,
Yeah.
someone call John Henry.
Yes.
Railroading can be definitely tricky. To railroad appropriately is you have to sort of entice your players to go in that direction.
Give them
And
the
that
carrot.
was a lot of what I was doing.
Yeah.
Or know
Like-
how your players think and plan out what they will most likely do, which is a lot harder. But
It
some
is.
people know.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And it is with that I think we can go to the brief description of the outline, which is next slide. And, there were admittedly a couple of times where I had to cut scene, which is the only real exceptions. But, yeah, I designed this from start to finish, and I have said it several times, and I will openly admit it was the weakest storyline out of the 4.
Not like we know.
And-
We've only seen this one.
Then you shall see, perhaps. But also,
Perhaps.
it shows that the party composition was like half of the thing, because y'all proceeded to make it so interesting that I'm actually excited for the sequel to it, which, might eventually come. So there was the cold open with the factory. That was already, that was the easiest one to railroad, because that was what... Except,
That's
and we'll
super
get to
snowy.
that. Then there was the first chapter, which I admit I kind of wrote very meanderingly. Like, you remember that one of your quests was get food,
Mhm.
Yeah.
go home.
Well, quote unquote home.
Yes, and apparently there was like something where you're supposed to go to a bar, and that was where you were going to meet the wrestlers, and you could see how that didn't work.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But, I merged them into the Manticore thing, and that kind of worked.
Yeah.
And then, chapter 2 was when I would introduce the SLJ, so now there's an actual threat that's hunting you. And you can kind of see that, but you fought them surprisingly little.
They were scary.
Well, yeah,
we
you
encountered
don't
them
wanna-
twice, fought them
Yeah.
half
You
of
fought
once.
them once, and then you convinced them, which
Mhm.
really worked in your favor, which is good, because chapter 3 was, the writing was awful.
Oh no.
Like, I think, it was, you're supposed to have, death warrant was supposed to happen no matter what. Because, the bounty hunter becomes a
Hi.
threat. And then, you're supposed to fight Gamma, and then his end goal was to eat the power plant, but that didn't really happen because you just diplomatized him.
We treated
And
him like a
then-
baby. In the
Yeah,
good
exactly,
way.
because he was a
Yeah.
babby. He was
Just a
babby.
child.
But I suppose we'll get more into that a little bit later. But we'll start with one of the biggest things that almost happened, but then didn't. Next slide.
Oh,
Okay.
someone's supposed to die?
Yeah, no, it was supposed to be either. So this was all based on, the first few episodes of G.I. Joe Renegades, because, all of this was based on Saturday morning cartoons. And in the first episode, one of the party dies, and then the rest are like, wow, we really miss him, and we really need to do this in the name of that. So that's why I gave you both Pixie and Wallflowers, two very distinctive personalities. And then one was supposed to get kidnapped or disappear and then end up in the plot later. But then they proceeded to not.
Well, it did
Because
happen
you
with
played it
Wallflower.
so straight, and you're like, no splitting up, everybody stay together. And then
Oh,
you somehow
yeah.
ended up with ad hoc.
Yeah, we actually, instead of losing one,
You
we ended
came
up
out with
gaining
3
one.
of them. And honestly, that was probably why Pixie got dwarfed so much. Because she, I built up the diehard so she would disappear, and then maybe you try and find her again. But nah, you
Nah.
kept saving her.
Yeah, Renee just keeps saving
Yeah.
Pixie.
Yeah.
Akane was trying her best to keep her alive.
She really was.
but I accidentally blew her up.
Yeah.
You did. Which honestly was why you didn't fight the SLJ as much, because there was
Yep.
supposed to be more of that combat, and then the tanker exploded.
I don't know
You
how.
rolled-
Yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
you rolled really good with Unstable Explosion, is the thing.
I love that spell.
And we
It
had a
is-
Gamma Baby blowing our way out.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, the SLG. I don't know if we could have beaten them. I think we would have been definitely
no.
trounced. They seemed like the
Well, the trick is that it was like 3 CR2s and then 2 CR1s in the original stuff, and they
Mhm.
had like one legendary action each per
Oh, yeah.
combat, which was like, I can summon a thing that blinds you. But no, you played around and you used the battlefield to your advantage, which
Of course.
I should have expected.
Yeah.
a lot of running away too.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
we instead of us being divided and conquered, we divided them and conquered.
Indeed,
Yeah.
which was I should have played the cops a lot more threatening, honestly. But honestly,
No.
it kind of worked out pretty well. Which
Yeah, it
actually
did,
brings
yeah.
me to the next slide, which is okay. I need to remember which one it is. Hold on. Am I there? We are. Okay, yeah, the endings. So you could so there were certain things for dealing with certain people, like you could deal with the remutinized, which was you could avoid them and then just leave, which would have been the ending I expected. Or, you could have avoided Gamma, and then Gamma would eat in the power plant and exploded. And that was the worst ending.
Right,
But
Gamma would have died.
oh yeah. And well, I don't know if they would have died, they just would have become a hyper-nuclear threat that you couldn't have dealt with. And then they could cause nukes, and it would have been a big problem to deal with later because, fail
No,
states.
we'd have found a way.
Yeah, you probably would have. But the thing that I didn't expect is that you befriended almost all the villains. Because you cleared your name with the SLJ. Didn't expect that. Like, as soon as you had it, you're like, hey, look at this. And I'm like, well, I can't have them not believe that because that's video evidence.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, yeah. And, you also kind of cleared your name with your dad, which did lead to one of the better stories of the thing. And I didn't expect you to defeat Chuck that early, so, you had it a little easier than I
I
expected.
think we got really lucky with Chuck.
Oh, you did.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the fight on top of the roof and,
And
the
even
smite.
though we were really, really lucky, I was having terrible luck.
Yeah,
we were lucky.
Yeah,
I couldn't hit for shit.
as a unit.
The
The
thing
royal
is,
we.
what it seems to be with Seraph is that you either roll really bad and then only hit like once or twice, or you hit once and then it burns the entire thing.
Yeah.
It's like Ness, honestly, in Smash.
PK
Like,
fire.
if you hit, it hurts like fuck. Which honestly brings me to another one of the things. Next slide. Which is a lot of the changes to the plot that happened. Hold on. Okay, there it is. I'm looking at the YouTube thing instead of the actual stream.
Mhm.
But yeah, the contenders were supposed to be villains. Like you would have the other two, which were supposed to be in the plot more, but I never really had an opportunity to because they kind of sucked. And well, they were kind of okay, but I didn't have really time to develop them. So most of that went to TKO, which I mean kind of went to its interest because TKO then became more of a character and not as much of an
stereotype.
asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they were an asshole up front.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And, it would have been some of the good would have gone to Flyweight, but honestly, it made him more developed as like a mutant who wasn't on your side, and that kind of worked. But that also brings me to another one of the problems, which is just yeah, some characters didn't get as much attention. Like, you remember when Martha had a cutscene to herself?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The
And
intro,
then
yeah.
never really developed into anything.
Well, she appeared in the
Yeah.
finale.
Wasn't she a waitress as
Yeah.
well?
She was the shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also,
was just around, yeah.
shapeshifter.
She's
And
a
then there
shapeshifter.
was
Facts.
Rollier and Chris, which Rollier got enough time in the spotlight, I think, but Chris,
Oh yeah.
I mean, Chris probably shows up later more. I don't know. The SLJ, like half of them did. Because Patriot, or not Patriot, American Angel, that's what I changed his name to, kind of got some, but also not
He's
really.
He was the leader.
And then
We
there
think
was
he was a- we
also
think he was a robot.
the
Mm-hmm.
Minuteman. He shot a gun once, I guess.
He was always intimidating, though. Minuteman he was very quiet, but he always felt like
Oh yeah, well the
The
thing is he was
menacing.
supposed to be a
Secret threat.
group deal with the twins.
yeah.
But then the one scene that the twins really got something, just he wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
he was
was
having a hard
just,
time catching up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess that I was supposed to be doing like a subplot about like allegories to the Creek mythos, but the thing is, it's very very hard to do something based on water when you're in the middle of Kansas.
When you have no
Mhm.
water.
Yes, there was one river. That was it.
And how often did we go to that river?
Once, I guess.
There you go.
The thing is that the fight with the SLJ was supposed to be on the bridge of that river.
Oh.
So that it would be like,
Oh.
where do we go? We're gridlocked. But then no, I merged it with the Junkyard Kids, and that kind of worked. And
it worked in our favor a lot better than the fucking bridge.
Yeah.
oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to
And
blow
then
up
of
a
course
bridge?
there's like, yeah.
Oh,
which-
hell yeah.
Oh yeah, that would have been a nightmare. But you know, then you have, you know, some of the others like Ad Hoc and Assad and others who were kind of there, but they develop more in the plot later. So there's
Yeah,
at
I
least a
thought-
reason
yeah.
why. Oh well,
I
I
mean,
go
thought
ahead.
Assad and Shockley. I thought Assad definitely got a decent amount of time, but just a lot of characters.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you could only do so much. I think he still got a decent amount, an appropriate amount of spotlight.
And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you said, Ad Hoc wasn't supposed to be a part of the gang at first. He had to work after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So
he did.
Ad Hoc got as much because Ad Hoc was a spur of the moment
Yeah.
thing.
Ad Hoc, I
Yeah.
think, was fine based on what he was.
Yeah.
He'll have more plot later. Same with the others.
Mhm.
Which brings me to one character that accidentally became a major NPC. Next slide. So Toy Killer wasn't supposed to be the only surviving member of the gang. Like,
that's really funny.
It was like at the end of it, I'm like, well, they need a reason to leave. And I'm like, okay, let's roll to see who makes it. Only Toy Killer. Toy Killer had the least writing, because like you could tell by the way I was speaking that Burner was supposed to be the cool leader who doesn't know what they're doing, and the tag is the mysterious one. And then
Yeah.
Toy Killer was just there.
I mean, I think it works that the quote-unquote least important member of the team is the one who has to save them.
Yeah,
think,
it
yeah,
works for
that
their
kind of
dynamic. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Also,
and that kind of worked
they
in
had
their
the
favor.
most useful power when it comes to doing that kind of show.
Also
Oh
true.
yeah, they basically had Zahando, considering. And I mean, it made it more interesting in order of all the things, but you know, I guess that sort of proves why the railroad is bullshit. But either way, that's really all my notes on how you change stuff. There was some stuff that stuck around and some stuff I had to rearrange, but you did some stuff I didn't expect, and now I'm using that to improve my own writing.
Oh, believe it from another DM, you need to expect the unexpected.
Yeah, I thought you did a good job. It didn't feel like anything was unprepared or
Exactly.
like there was contrivances is the right word. I don't think so. Like plot
I'd
holes
say-
or things or canon events. Like the only one that you maybe could argue was the Chimera one, but like you know sometimes you just like hey, it has to happen for the plot, right?
The ones that I
think that's still
remember
fine.
had to happen were the Gamma being dropped. That had to happen
Oh yeah.
in order to
Right.
make the plot happen. And then
Tried
there
to
was,
end it.
I guess, no, Camaro kind of
Taking his
wasn't
head
showing-
back.
taking his head back. That had to happen.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he needs to be more of a villain later on.
He can't just be a
And
head
then-
in the box for the entire game.
Oh, yeah, that would have, because then it's like, how many villains do you have? Dr. Reed's? I guess. Maybe the deputy. You didn't even know the deputy was a villain until the last
Oh
part.
no, I called he was a
Yeah.
villain.
Yeah.
I just thought he was kind of like really thought we were really bad. I thought he was just misguided.
Nah.
But then he kind of went, I will do whatever it takes.
I called he was
Yeah.
a villain when he was taking his sweet ass time
Mhm.
walking around when the SLJ was trying to arrest us.
Yeah.
I
And
thought he
then
was
there
just
was
more of a goof.
also, I guess the only other time was maybe the wrestling event, but
No, I think that
that
was
was
fine.
just, yeah. Oh yeah, also, Mr. Tamper was supposed to show up earlier in that fight, and then I forgot.
Oh, he scared. Mr. Taylor scared the living hell out of me.
Oh yeah.
And
That
Chevy
was-
was like, "Oh god, he's gonna blow us up."
Just from
Keep
out of
running.
nowhere, the man slowly walking at us.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the
is-
snail
Now
that will
you
forever
guys know
chase
what it
you.
feels like when Seraph's not on your side.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you will feel probably more of that next time. But for this time, next slide.
Boop.
Do you guys have any questions? Actually, I have some questions for you, but I'll wait until the tail end of that because I've been talking so much.
You have questions for us?
Akane probably laughs at millennial Facebook memes 100%.
Oh, yes.
100%. She unironically thinks those memes are bangers.
Jeez. She Facebook minion memes.
Yeah, yeah. She'd be like, "These little guys are funny."
God. They like minions. They like Carmel Johnson. What else?
Akane is cringe incarnate.
She fell asleep in 2012 and then woke
Yeah,
up
she
now.
knows. Yeah,
Oh, no, it makes
like humor and
sense.
taste. Yeah, it's there's a valid reason why Akane's like humor is so like out of touch. Oh. Yeah,
And these
any
can be questions about my DMing, about the plot, about future stuff that could have been missed.
How this is a question that's been on my mind since the last game. How much in trouble is Seraph after her little unstable explosion?
Oh, that was okay. So there was an entire thing based around, how much do you show in front of the public? Do you seem like good guys? That explosion in the junkyard.
No, not that one.
The SLJ explosion.
Yes.
When the portal.
Oh, no,
the
that
portal.
one.
Oh, that
The
one.
portal. How angry did I make them, and are they upping the bounty?
I'll say this. The first thing that will be addressed in the sequel is that, and you are probably considered one of the higher tier threats to them.
Hey!
Whether it be because of your pyromania or your secretive heritage. Ooh.
The secret heritage, also known as Mr.
Okay.
Tamper.
Did I damage anything important?
Okay, I'll say this because it's gonna be at the first thing. You scorched the fuck out of their rug and then blew up half of their business table.
I'm hoping there were important documents on that table.
We'll get to that whenever we get to that sequel.
Yes. But what was that other thing you were saying? Like,
Oh yeah, I had to roll to make sure that when, the sheriff and, Mr. Mosberg was alive.
When they
And
were
I was
alive?
like, if any of these guys die, the whole thing is going to increase in police stuff. Because there would be SWAT teams going around if any of them died. But, we rolled lucky.
Nice. I have a question.
You do.
What was your favorite character to play as a DM?
That is a good question. Because, okay, there's the ones that I expected I would really enjoy, and then there's the ones that I legitimately enjoyed. I expected I would really like Death Warrant because, he's Deathstroke. He's the coolest. He shoots the guns and is super serious all the time. And then he kind of just... He's very hard to write because it's just... He's solid... he was more fun during that last bit with Mr. Mosberg because it wasn't just he shoots the party. But then in the combat, it was a kind of fine. I like how you guys treat him like a roadblock instead of a foe, because fighting him
yeah.
is not a good idea.
I think most of the time we were like, fighting's not the right call here.
Well,
I-
speak for yourself. Seraph wouldn't say that.
I think
Hey.
the one that I liked, you know what? I kind of, well, there are two levels, because there are those who would, deal with the party at face value, and then are you real kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was are you real kind of people, I guess it would probably be Shayla. Because Shayla's just dealing with, oh god, what the fuck? The whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And trying not to freak out. And then for people who treat it at face value, probably Chimera. Because he is a dude who's just survived by any means necessary. And bouncing him off of Renee was kind of fun. And then it was kind of interesting to see how it would be with like your character when it came to like people seeing you as the experiment, and then people who actually knew you were like, man. And we'll get into that a little bit later, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, honestly, it would be Shayla and Chimera, ironically.
Neat.
I have a question.
Do you?
Who's your favorite player? It's like asking a parent who's their favorite child.
Now.
Listen. We don't need to hurt anyone's feelings. Don't be hurt. We all know the answer inside.
We all know the answer is Akane.
Wait, no.
Okay, that actually does bring me to my questions about your characters, because there was stuff that I liked about each character. Like, I like how Renee was the moral compass, but only enough that it worked. It wasn't like you said, you didn't believe in, direct truth and justice. You just believed in enforcing it and making things right. That was
believed in his own justice.
Yes. And then for Akane, I like how we played it, and that'll play more into my character question later when it comes to that. And then for Seraph, it was very interesting to sort of come to understanding with your character, because they're not exactly just face value pyromaniac. Like, there's a little bit of something to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still think that the fight against the SLJ was probably one of my favorite parts.
That was actually, yeah, because
just because the amount of restraint I had to put into Seraph before the fight started, because we were at the factory and I could not. You had me tempted to just burn the place, and then the sweet release.
I think I would agree with you that was my overall favorite fight. However, if it needs to be a fight that Renee actually fought in, then I'd feel like I have to say Manticore.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and then the best bit. Everyone knows what the best bit is, right?
What, that Seraph wears the pants?
Yeah.
Nah, that's the best bit.
This is the porn parody.
The tape. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my favorite. Yeah, that was my favorite.
Of course.
Yeah, that was really funny.
If only we brought it back in the finale.
Yeah.
Well, we had gotten the
I wish I could,
out.
but it never there was never a place to put it.
See if what you could have done is had one of the newscasters ask them, "Is the porn tape of Shining Rose real?"
Oh god. That's going into the next thing, because I know there's going to be a start of where are the renegades now, and then I'm putting that start then. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if a reporter asked Akane that, she would shrivel up and die.
If Seraph had actually participated in the question things, if she had not rolled so well on, like, if her passive intimidation wasn't so great, if she would have yelled at them, "Just watch the damn porn tape."
Oh, God, Akane, if you had heard that.
Just instant death.
I do want to answer that one little sticky note there. Does Shining Rose is gay? No, but he is bi.
No.
That, of course he's bi.
Tracks.
Look at him. He wears those shoulder frills. No
But
straight
not the
man wears-
pants. But
No,
not the
he does not wear the
Uh,
pants.
No,
He wears
No.
tights. He wears the tight
Don't-
tights.
the shoulder things belong on military uniforms. I will not hear none of this.
And as we all know, the military's bi, right?
No.
Well, they
Well,
don't say gay, so they
Hmm.
have to say bi.
In the
doesn't
Navy.
necessarily mean gay.
Can sail the
Rule
seven seas.
7 seas.
Look, just because some of them are doesn't mean all of them aren't.
Yes. Meanwhile, Constitution is painfully straight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, the thing is, he already had a thing where his dick was shown. That's the big swinger incident. I thought that would
Big
come up
swinger?
more.
Well, yeah,
He
it's
went-
it's
oh,
his
he
big
went
swinger.
nude and his clothes popped out. Like, he didn't have the proper clothes at the time.
In the
like,
middle of his
and-
like baseball game, because that was supposed. I thought that would come up more, but it never did.
It came up now and again.
It's like
Yeah.
when Sarah doesn't have her proper outfit on, she's running around in the nude.
Yeah, like that one fight.
Oh right. Yeah.
Like in multiple fights. Because people kept asking me to take off my thing.
That's like perfect.
Honestly, I keep forgetting that for half of those fights, Akane was in neon sweatpants because of those.
Which was
that-
really funny.
And
And
Renee
the-
was shirtless.
And I didn't mention this on stream, but the reason why Shayla wore the alien mask instead, you wore the bucket hat, is because there was no way you could do the dramatic scene between Assad and Akane with that alien mask on. I mean, it would have been interesting, but I don't think that could have been the case.
Well, first he'd have to figure out that it was Akane.
Exactly. How do you do? Because you were doing like the fake voice and everything.
Looks at the body
fake
figure.
voice.
You were like,
Yeah.
yes, hello.
Yeah, the oh yeah, I think she talked like this. I forget. I'd have to look back at the stream.
The trick was that you were doing a voice that was faking being another voice.
Yeah,
Which
that's
can
always
be the hardest thing.
Yeah. I had tons of fun with the. I thought. I mean, if we're gonna move over to combat, unless we have other stuff we want to ask questions about, I was gonna say, in combat, I felt like Akane started off, having some clutch plays and dealing balancing damage and tanking, but near the end, Akane was just getting the shit.
But honestly, that was a really good role for things because you were the
Oh,
mother,
yeah.
you protected, which actually brings me to my questions for you.
Ooh.
All right. So I'm gonna actually start with you since you mentioned it.
Oh yeah.
So, with such a complex topic that is your backstory, do you think we pulled it off well? With the whole perfect mother thing.
I think we did. There was a lot of Akane just sort of naturally fell in the role of looking out for other people, especially with Pixie and Shay. I think there was I don't think there'd be that much of a relationship between Akane and Pixie. But that sort of be sort of a paternal relationship, and she sort of had those moments with Shayla. Two, there are times where she'd be looking out, for the rest of the part. I think more often Seraph, reining in Seraph a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think she ever looked out for Renee.
Renee is the one who
in
can
it.
tend to look out for himself.
You look out for everybody
They,
else.
they
so
look
it's
out for
kind
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think we did. Yeah, good.
oh, go on ahead.
Yeah, I think we did pull off well. There were some allusions to the backstory. I don't think we dived into it too. I mean, there was the one sea of babies nightmare scene.
Oh yeah, which
Yeah.
honestly, I think I'm glad that I did that in such a restrained and weird manner.
Yeah.
It could have been full on train spotting, like dead babies on the ceiling, but no. I think the sea of babies was scarier.
Yeah, no, the sea of like living babies was a lot scarier. I
Yeah.
really like that. I think we pulled it off in a way, um, where you could see, like, especially if you knew the details of the backstory, you could see you could see, oh, this makes sense, and also just like not knowing the backstory, like, oh, like this is just Akane's sort of role and just sort of her natural.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's a mom who laughs at Facebook minion memes.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
we will be getting more into that later. But that actually brings me to the next question for you, Skylar.
Ha.
So, considering how everybody else only had their stuff sort of hinted at, how do you feel about you weren't the main character of
No.
this season, but you had a lot of the ties. And some of them will be showing up later, like, Chimera's still running out there. But like how did you feel about having that much backstory stuff?
I mean, it definitely sort of comes with just the setting being where you live and have lived your entire life pretty much. You're bound to know
Yeah,
some people here and there, but I mean, I think it went well. I think it was helpful at least that the others were able to rely on Renee when it came to where they are and who they could try and turn to, or like how to talk to certain people.
yeah, and then the accidental foreshadowing of mentioning your brother
Oh, that was
at the
just great
funeral.
timing.
Yeah, that was. And, I will say this, it's been an interesting writing thing, finding ways to implement, stuff for your character later on, but I think I'm starting to get to it.
Good,
But
good.
for you, Joey, I have a completely different question. So, I don't know if it's entirely public knowledge because I don't think the Ravnica campaign ever got recorded. But
Wait,
this
what?
is the third incarnation of your Pyro character.
Yes, it
Um
is.
And my question for that is, well, two separate questions. Which part incarnation of the pyro did you like best and why? Where did you get the inspiration for the pyro? And how do you really feel about like the start at the end it started to hint towards your backstory. So how do you feel about that?
Okay, well, in all honesty, I'm gonna have to say probably the first iteration where she was at her most brutalist was
Yeah.
probably my favorite.
And then the second
Well,
one was sort of, you were
the
in
second one
therapy
was
and
basically the second one was for the second one was her mellowing, and this is where she's at like a happy place where I can work with the party the best.
yeah, you were like
Uh,
the most party composition-y version.
Because in the yes, I'm the one that works, but like in the original, the
You
original
were just
how she came to be, she came through a lot of iterations because it was just me with some character builds. I'm like, okay, I really like this. I like this concept, but I don't like how this is working. So I keep going through trying to find better fire builds. And originally it was trying to make like this AoE ring of fire around me for melee, but then I just went to just straight fire damage with the sorcerer build.
and then that's how you gotta go fast McPyro.
That is a new spell spell was not there before, and that appeared later.
And
Um,
honestly, it kind of works for you.
it does work, but the original reason why the pyro existed was because I think like in one because I believe the first time because Seraph actually the concept of Seraph existed for JP's backup character for his Ravnica game.
Oh yeah, that was a thing. I almost
Oh
made a
Way,
wow,
character for
that's a
that.
way,
long
way
time ago.
back.
Yes,
Wow.
Back
because
when
they
I was
were
in
originally
college.
Well,
they
yeah,
were
we were in
originally going
college.
to
We were
be
all in college still,
yeah.
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 They were originally going to be I a um the path the a barbarian mixed with monk,
Yeah.
and it was going to be the
Ooh.
sun soul and the barbarian that does like elemental around you, and it was going to be the fire one, and they were going to be a Boros child that had been stolen by the Gruul and forced to fight in the Gruul, and then eventually came back to the Boros but was a lot brutal.
Ooh.
Then
That
when they
makes sense why they were
became
so
Then when it came to your game, instead they had seen they had witnessed either the Boros or the Azorius. I don't remember which one, but basically deem their parents or their house or whatever, raid their house and just burn everything. And in order to cope with that, their mind went fire. And that whole thing started, and they joined the Boros so they could burn things without getting in trouble. That is how that worked with them. So they've had an excuse to burn things and do all that the damage they love because they could do police brutality.
I'm
in that
taking
world.
notes for later because this might. I'll find a way to implement this. I swear.
What? No.
The U.S. government will hire you.
The
No.
terrible house fire.
The terrible house fire where she developed
Terrible house
pyromania.
fire.
The terrible
Yes.
house fire where she developed pyromania and decided she wanted to burn things instead of focusing on the trauma that she lost.
Reasonable.
I believe I am being called for dinner.
In that
What was the
case,
last thing you said?
I guess that's the end of your question.
I guess it would. What was my question for you? The last question I had was just, how do you feel about at the tail end we started to hint towards your character's backstory?
Neat. I thought it was neat. All right, I think I will be back. I'm going to go double check.
In that case, we shall take a short break, but when we come back, we have a very interesting little mini game show that totally wasn't inspired by Skylar's Fate game show.
No, definitely not.
And then we will do some power rankings.
Well,
Yippoo! And we are back.
Mm-hmm.
And we are back.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Now that we've had our little back and forth questions, and by the way, if you still have questions, please let me know. We moved to an important thing that was originally going to be part of the slides, but I decided to make it something more. So, as you know, the original design sort of came from, I think, two sources, which was Villains Unlimited, which was like from the early 90s, like the Bush administration. And then the other ones came from like 2003 to 2013. And, some of the designs sort of did well, like, Dr. Shock and Assad. And then you had Minuteman, whose design didn't really change. And then Chimera and Minotaur, since,
I'm
they
sorry,
looked good,
Minotaur?
although they
Minotaur?
did change a lot.
Minotaur? Who?
Who's Minotaur?
Not Minotaur, but Manticore. Now I have to implement a
Now you've
Minotaur.
got to have a character
Thanks.
named Minotaur.
Minotaur, yeah.
It keeps
But
with the
either way,
theme.
some of them did work. And then, next slide. Some of them didn't. I've already mentioned this to you guys several times, which is why this isn't in the game show. This was originally what Dr. Reed's was supposed to be.
Mm.
Which, I mean, the Catgirl thing is weirder by far, but at least it's
Very
kind of...
different.
Oh, yes.
Different is a good word for it.
I think my voice... What would my voice even be for him? Would it just be George Lucas' voice? Yeah, I would have just been George Lucas' voice. Yeah, I'm the villain of the whole thing. I made your brother a robot.
I'm the villain of the whole thing.
And you do it while listening to Carmel Dunstan. All right.
Oh,
Yes,
so funny.
obviously. That's still my favorite music. But
Don't
either
worry,
way,
we fix it in post.
I'll add it in post. Don't worry. But either way, it sort of brought up the concept that a lot of these characters got redesigned a lot because the original designs kind of sucked. Which is why, for this little mini game show, I think that there is a total of how many rounds? 1, 2, 3, 4, and a lightning. There's going to be guesswork based on who do you think these people were in the original sort of canon.
Okay.
I'm not going to participate.
You're not... Oh, do you already... Oh, yeah, you have...
I can see the next slide.
Well, it doesn't reveal the name, so you still can.
Because I was going to say, I can see the first question in that case, and I know the answer.
Okay.
I mean, that one's the easy one,
Of
to
course.
be fair. But either way, if you win, I will give you a crisp high five.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. So,
Nice and crispy.
the first one is kind of an easy one. Next slide. Who do you think that these two are?
Oh, Stars and Stripes.
Of course.
Yeah, Stars and Stripes.
Yeah,
Dang it.
Definitely.
Did you
Even
think one of us
still,
would
It
get that
has
wrong?
stars, the other ones are stripes, so...
Well, yeah, but then also it sort of brings up a weird thing of just... Man, that... Villains Unlimited had some weird designs. Like, why are the boots like that? Why can you can kind of see her nips?
Well, not just
weird.
kinda, you just can.
You definitely can.
There's no kinda.
Yeah.
And we got a
Makes
Ken
me-
doll situation going on the
Oh,
other
yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Man, he is just
His
flat.
abs are in a weird position.
they are. Like, there's no separation between the arm and the pec. It's like,
Yeah.
also...
You definitely made the better choice of making them Sentai.
Yeah, also because those faces, like, the artist is good at faces, but dude,
Yeah.
same hair, you can't see their
Well, they're
eyes.
twins. Well, no, they're not, but...
Either way, that also brings me to the other ones, which, next slide, you'll know who these ones are.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. But, yeah, American Angel was just named Patriot.
Mm.
Like, wow. Very
Flag Wave
original.
Constitution, American
Such
Angel,
wow.
Yeah.
It's Flag Wave on the right, right?
Yeah, that's Flag Waver. Which...
Okay.
The jetpack.
Yeah, jetpack's
It-
cooler.
The thing
It
is, it
is.
wasn't even a jetpack. He could just fly. That was his whole deal. And I'm like, wow, that sucks. Also,
That's kind of boring.
man, Constitution is just Nightwinging it, isn't it? With the fucking flare.
Yeah, I like his design better.
Yeah.
I like the ones that you went with a lot more.
Yeah.
so far.
Well, the thing is, he was still a baseball player. You couldn't fucking tell. So that's why I designed his sort of design off of that. And as for Patriot, yeah, I just redesigned the whole character because what is there to him? I don't even think
Like
he
a-
had the angel. I don't even think he had any powers other than just strong.
Strong man.
It's Batman.
Strong man.
he just belongs in the League of Captain Americas.
Yeah,
it looks like he's
bootleg
like a Captain America. That's the vibe I got.
And that's
He's
why I
just-
sort of made him like kind of like healing powers slash flying slash stuff.
Yeah, it's Commander Patriot.
Yeah,
Compatriot.
yeah. But you make him kind of Jesus-y because America likes the Jesus. Anyways, this next one is going to be a bit more difficult. Next slide. Who is this boyo?
That's a boy.
I think it is. Which also brings me to something.
I mean, I do
Yeah,
think
the
that's an
images
answer.
of these guys are kind of not great for
Is
Mutants
that
and
one of the
Masterminds.
kids?
A lot of them are from a while ago, so you can count the pixels.
It's either one of the
Uh,
kids or my assumption was Gamma.
That's an interesting guess.
Martha,
I'm guessing one
Actually,
of the
that was my first thought, but I decided against
Martha
it.
or Miss Amaranth. No?
And what is your guess, Joey?
it's one of the kids. I don't know which one.
You are all incorrect. That
Ooh.
is TKO.
That's
What?
TKO.
Why does he just look like a regular man?
I thought it was a
woman.
Well, if you zoom out, he looks a little more like a dude, but it also brings up how the contenders looked.
Yeah, the facial features definitely look feminine.
They
Other than the
do.
long
They look a
hair,
little
yeah.
feminine for some
It's
reason.
the reverse of the thing from with
But next slide so you can see what the others look like,
what is
unless
it?
we're already
the
there.
Lorax.
It
They
does.
That's
speak for the
kind of.
trees.
Mhm.
Well, it's that's a woman.
Okay, flyweight.
I
Bear
think Bear
hug.
Bear Hug is easy.
Well, yeah, those
Yeah.
two. But then there was
Who's
just
the
a
Batman?
there was a
Yeah.
third dude whose power was just being fat.
Oh, lovely.
He's basically the
Blob.
blob.
You love to see it.
And it's
Well,
like,
it's not. It's shock absorption.
oh yeah, but like he didn't even have that. It was just you punch and then, he can morph his body a little bit. He also had weirdly a strength of 32.
Okay,
Which-
that would have
No,
definitely.
I'm not doing that.
Where did you get that stat block from?
Well, it was okay. The thing is, Mutants and Masterminds was based off a 3.5 edition.
Oh, okay.
And man, you could tell because everybody had a strength above 20.
Oh yeah. I mean, start for
Eventually,
30.
they started to do it where they like made it only the modifier to make it more
Mhm.
understandable. But like, yeah,
Yeah, 30 for stats are usually reserved for 5e. At least they're usually reserved for gods.
or like the Tarrasque or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Godlike
gods are
beings.
Yeah.
All right. This next one wasn't a bad design, but it didn't work for what I was doing. That is the only hint I will provide. Next slide.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? That's Tamper.
Is that the T is?
T for Tamper.
T for tamper. I don't know if that's. I mean, maybe I could see it being tamper. Maybe I don't know.
I could also see it being Chimera, which definitely wouldn't work with what you were going for.
We saw Chimera's design.
What? No, like this, not the one that he actually used.
Oh, true.
There could have been a beta still.
Any other guesses?
Me? I'll go Manticore.
Interesting. Joey was right the first time. It
Yeah,
is Tamper.
Yeah.
Because apparently so the only power he had, because this was before he was related to the Pyromaniac, was just that security cameras couldn't see him, which is good, but it doesn't fit the weird, because that was one thing that carried over. He thinks he's working for Jesus because the mind-bending hallucination shit. And, like, he also could fly, because weirdly they just add flying to half of these people. And I guess he could punch, but then he had no offensive tendencies, so I made him have the fire stuff. And also, in the original, yeah, he was a redhead who, like, had the name, like, Shauna Flannery or something. So I just kind of shifted it so it's more Whitey Bulger-ish, which kind of worked out. It made him more intimidating. Which then brings me to the next one, next slide, which is another one where the design didn't fit.
I feel like
at
this
all.
one's a little more obvious.
Amaranth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Lady Amaranth. Yeah, Miss Amaranth.
Yeah, yeah.
The whip gives it away for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the fire.
because
Well, is the fire
whip
connected to them?
well, that's the thing. They had a weird tattoo in this version. Also, they're supposed to be intimidating, but they just look like Lara Croft. I don't get why.
They're not all. No, they're not intimidating.
No, they've got more pixels.
Yeah, they do. Which is why they're less timid. Yeah, they show up on a 140 webcam. You're not gonna shit yourself.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, they were supposed to be like the right-hand woman to this mysterious underground organization, and they just look like that. I think I approved
I think
it.
they're gonna go to a workout or something.
Or
They
came back
do.
from
They
one.
got like the sports bra and the collar. But why the collar?
Kink?
Kinky.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
it's like it's not even like spikes or anything. It's just kind of like these little divots.
They just like it.
Also, just yeah.
And I don't know. I guess they really like They really like D&D and Baldur's Gate. They wanted to join the Flaming Fist.
Yeah, 'cause
Heyo.
the tattoo is weird. I is that the source of their power?
Mhm.
Well, either way, that brings me to the final one, which has the answer already, but it's up to you to decide which. It's the lightning round, baby. Next slide to show that it's a lightning round.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, yeah,
And
the
the
kids.
Yep.
That's the kid.
Yep, it is in fact the mutant resistance, and that's the trick. However, I'm not going to tell you which one's which.
Burner, toy killer, tag, left or right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's your answer. What about the rest of you?
No.
I don't think
No, you're right.
I'm gonna-
Tag's the one
I
with the
agree.
spray paint. Burner's the fire one, and Toy Killer's in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Surprise, you're wrong.
Burner in the center
Oh.
or something?
Okay, first off, the designs 2003 as fuck. I might implement some of them because it's good. Burner's on the right.
Really?
Nah.
Why? Which, and then the middle one is Tag,
I
which
can see
could
that.
work because they could turn into like mist. Why is Toy Killer red?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
That's weird. I don't get that. Like, they're supposed to evaporate things. Evaporation isn't red, it's black. It's like the hand. Which is why they ended up being the goth one.
Mm-hmm.
Even though technically Tag was the goth one, but you know.
Tag was the brooding one.
Yeah, Tag was the mysterious dark experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which the middle one kind of works for that. And then Burner, I don't know. I kept the piece of shit grin for Burner, but like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But nonetheless, that brings me to one last thing before we get to the power scaling. And that is what comes next for the ICTU Idea Comics tabletop universe.
Ooh.
There are 4 games for phase 1 that I have planned, which are subject to change because stuff has changed around since and before, and they will probably change after. But as it stands, this is what I have planned. Some of the players here will be in these games, for those of you who are watching and are excited for the ICTU.
Whoa.
So it is next slide to reveal them.
You mean the one that I'm on right now?
I think I'm at a delay for Roll20 because it just keeps showing me. There we are. Yeah, okay. And that is correct. Yes, it is these 4 games. And to briefly describe each of them, for Crumbling Legacy, the Atom superhero family is thrown into jeopardy as its long-running patriarch, Alexander Atomov, mysteriously falls into a coma. The company falls in the hands of his young descendants, and those with enough guts to serve them, the party. But that company is coveted after by ravenous socialites, conniving crime bosses, and anyone big, mean, and tough enough to think that they could take over the decade-spanning legacy of one of superheroism's finest. Can the descendants stand up for their legacy and make their mark? Or will they fall into obscurity, or worse, an open grave? Find out in Crumbling Legacy. The vibe of it is going to be sort of those old 1960s spy superhero things like Johnny Quest and Venture Bros, or what Venture Bros parodied. But it also has sort of a hard Tarantino edge, considering, city street crime. For the one after that, Lost in the Unknown, Otherwise Incorporated is a government subsidiary working on a unique science experiment up in the Appalachian Mountains on artifacts, subjects, and any modicum of evidence relating to aliens and space travel. And the party, though they've had their experience with the operations of Otherwise for a long time, is having their first day on the job, right in the middle of a terrible accident that not only shakes what we think we know to our very core, but also launches the party into the center of a conflict they'll have to use every inch and ounce of wit to scrape their way out of. Can they escape the facility alive? Can they make it back home? Or will they be lost in the unknown? This one sort of has Fantastic Four / Half-Life vibes. A little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy for what the parties have discovered so far, which, hey, I think it's this party.
Could be.
Could be.
Maybe.
Of course, that's subject to change, but, from what it seems like, fingers crossed. Nonetheless, the next one, Rebellious Phase. Stumpley High School is one of the few mixed schools in New Pine City post-mutant outbreak, a title that has earned it some interest not only from the government, but also has made it a breeding ground for superheroes, as the party tries their hand at vigilante justice under the tutelage of their mysterious teacher, Mr. Dolly. Can they keep their friends on the straight and narrow as protests rise against the notably anti-mutant Governor Mayor Moore, making their school the center of attention against the face of a new mutant revolution? And one of the disappearances that take mutant after mutant from the student populace. Find out in Rebellious Phase. This is a little bit of a school-based one that'll have some stuff, and from what I've heard so far, your little magical girl mutant melee group, you might
Yeah.
have fun with it. And then finally, the weird one out of the group, Operation Spectre. With this campaign, we swip away from 2020X to the distant past, 1870X, as the party, a mismatched group of cryptids, weirdos, and Wild West tales, are brought together as the last request of President Lincoln, with a single goal: to find the lost artifacts of Napoleon's discoveries scattered across the country before they fall in the wrong hands. With terrorists, banditos, and even the Klan nipping at their heels, can they recover these extraordinary objects of power? Find out in Operation Spectre. This one's a Wild West one. Yippee!
Yeehaw.
It also will probably provide a little bit of lore to the ICTU as well as what's to come. But, if we make it to that point, you guys will see. I will say that there is going to be a bit of a pause between Nowhere to Hide and Crumbling Legacy, as I'm just getting my bearings and we're testing out new players. But don't worry, there'll be some stuff in between. Next slide. And we're on next slide.
Mm-hmm.
Yippee! It turns out that I'm just developing some stuff in the background because I really like the world I'm building and I want to do stuff with it. So I'm developing a webcomic, which so far I've written chapter 1. I'm writing 3 pages.
Ooh.
which there might be a comic dub based off of it if it goes well with some of the original people, loosely based off of, well, heavily based off of what happened in the campaign, plus a little bit of extra stuff.
Just to get
And
more.
in the backdrop, I am also writing a little mini abridged video for the entire campaign, not only showing what happened, but also, a couple of jokes, because jokes are funny.
Porn.
Barn.
Show me the
That is an actual part of it. Let me see if I can actually get the script for it. 'Cause
I believe it.
I think that the line I wrote for that is a porn parody of Shining Rose at this time of day in this part of the country, localized entirely within this place. Yes.
Can I see it?
Just a bunch of teenage girls. I want to see.
I want to see it.
I know that one of the lines I've written is Shining Rose have my babies.
Of course, because Shining Rose is just so marketable.
Canonically, Shining Rose is hot.
I also remember.
Is that why Shining Rose is Shining Rose using Seraph as a buffer?
I remember I also wrote something about TKO having a podcast in that, because of course he. Either way,
this world's version of J. Jonah Jameson.
I mean, he did
Get me
have
pictures
some
of
Mr.
Shining
Satan
Rose.
inspiration, so
Shining Rose is a menace.
He's a mess. I want to fight him one-on-one. But either way, with that, we have come to the end of the PowerPoint. Yippee!
No. I know how to do the J. Jonah Jameson. It's Mr. Mosberg and
I
Sarah.
do remember it's
Yeah.
the scene that introduces him is literally just Sheriff Maiko, nuclear meltdown? Deputy Devote, renegades? Miss Amaranth, nodding, renegades. Mr. Mosberg proceeds to flip the fuck out, tossing Deputy Devote and Sheriff Maiko in the car. Lockdown! Call the SLJ! God damn you, renegades! And then it cuts away.
Who's the Renegades?
Love it.
That
very-
would be a thing. Who the fuck's the renegade?
It's gonna be that until it'll be the end of the entire universe, and it's like we finally decided on a name: the porn parodiers. I mean the renegades. You just decide on it to avoid it. But either way, with all that done and said, we can get to not the real. It's kind of the meat and potatoes. I have chosen. If you can switch to the roll 20, please, Skylar.
Let me see if I can do the right one because they're called the same thing. There we
Yes.
go.
I have chosen every single person that has been in combat, really, and you have fought face to face, as well as the party. And with that, we will put them on this lovely little chart that I have created.
Power scaling.
That scales, interestingly, it scales in power based on what they could take or control, which is, first off, average man, then town, then city, then state, then country, continent, planet, solar system, cosmic, and then universal. And should there be any others that you guys think we should implement?
I think
Nah.
that's.
They're good. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I went over with you this with a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The
No,
only other one I've seen between that could be is like street level. Like
Oh,
before.
Oh yeah, well
in
that's what
between
average
and
is.
town.
That's
Well, average
men.
is like just like a person, and then street level is like you take out like a street of people.
That's
I'm
true.
a little in a little bit of power scaling. I'm in the power scaling subreddit.
I think that would probably be the highest point you could get with average. Just you could
Yeah.
defeat an entire street of people in a street fight, because that's
Oh,
like
yeah.
CR2 or 3. Like a
Yeah.
veteran could beat the fuck out of them. But not
Yeah.
only that, it is not just based on CR. If it was, that would be really easy.
Of course.
It is based on also if they can control their power, and if they can actually, control something once they get it. Which is why Mr.
Right.
Mosberg would be town level, even though he could probably die to a single punch.
He almost did.
He almost did
survived an
twice.
explosion.
Yeah.
It did, but only because he got really lucky. And then also, the reason it goes from blue to red is because it goes from good to evil.
How upset would Renee have been if his dad had died in the explosion?
I don't know.
That is a good question.
Would
Nonetheless,
you have gotten mad at Seraph?
Maybe a little.
since we are talking about Seraph, we start with them.
How you doing?
Hi.
I think Sheriff is town level minimum.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of power, yes, but they can't control it because they didn't use it a lot.
Yeah.
Define control.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's also the fact that Seraph would not ever really take control of anything.
That is
Yeah.
true.
She is just a bomb.
Which
And
is
if
why
you
they
put
would
her in the
probably
right-
be on the lower scale of town.
If it was pure power and nothing else, then yeah, they would be a lot higher.
Yeah, because if somebody was in control of them, that could probably go city level where they are now.
If someone in charge had the power to control Seraph and just if Seraph was effectively what Mr. Tamper was, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because Mr. Tamper's fucking terrifying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
How about we just also put Mr. Tamper like city level while we're here? Yeah.
which also brings up alignment. Where are we putting her
In the
alignment?
middle.
Right in the
Yeah,
middle?
Yeah.
in the middle.
They're
I
not
guess leaning
malicious. Exactly.
they don't do anything at the start malicious.
I'll put them at middle, but on the evil side of neutral.
They're
like
not
right here.
necessarily evil, just very chaotic.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
they're not.
chaotic.
Yeah.
I think
I
they
think-
are very pure, just like
Wait, where-
in the center.
Why is it not showing?
Yeah,
It's because it's
just
delayed.
put me-
Okay.
Put me in the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm
And you know what?
I'm up
Since
a
we're
little
here,
higher.
Mr. Tamper,
Yeah, put him in city.
Yeah.
And put
I'm putting him
like,
at city level
put him near
because
the
he is under someone's control, so he's innately stronger. But the alignment,
I think he's more evil.
he is
From what
kind
we've
of evil,
seen,
but he's brainwashed.
He's
a brainwashed.
He's
Yeah.
still in the brainwashed state, so therefore he is evil until he is
Yeah.
I'll say, yeah, he would commit a war crime if you told him to, but only if he believed that Mother Mary would want him to do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So am I on
right
the
there.
low end of town, or would I be on the high end of town?
I think
I would
middle or high end.
I was gonna say middle.
So,
yeah,
like-
so yeah.
maybe
in
like
middle,
right
yeah.
at the W.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
I could take a town if I wanted to. There wouldn't be much of a
Could.
town left, but I could.
Yeah.
If I get really
then-
lucky with my unstable explosion.
Oh yeah. Well, if you're lucky with your unstable explosion, you can have the whole world.
And of course, in the sequel, you guys will probably increase in power, but for now, Seraph, yeah, they go there.
Do we get the equivalent of quote unquote magic items?
I mean, the only magic item you've gotten so far is I think the sweatpants.
What's magical about them?
Oh, you're right. They did have an effect.
They have like disadvantage on persuasion, but advantage
Yeah.
on intimidation.
yeah,
so-
yeah.
Which actually brings me to you next.
I
Where
think
would put-
Akane barely gets street level.
I
Like,
was
on a
Okay,
really
so on
good
the
day,
high end of
Akane gets-
average.
I could see them
Yeah.
getting to town, but I'm not sure about yet.
Okay, so,
definitely
like,
not. I mean,
right
I don't know
on
if
the
they
line.
get to town.
Definitely not above
No,
Seraph.
Yeah, definitely.
the thing
I
is,
still
I
put him
feel like
in-
Akane is a pretty good planner, though. Like, she
Yeah.
adapts pretty good.
I
Like,
don't know.
if
I
she-
still think.
If she had time to plan,
also
she
the
could
leader.
probably protect-
Because
could
there was,
probably
I
put
will openly
down-
admit, I gave y'all no prep time for half of these things.
I might move
Yeah.
Akane up by like 2 squares.
And
I don't
then
know.
alignment way over on.
Oh,
Gold.
yeah,
like,
yeah, way
Oh
right,
yeah.
like probably like way over here.
Oh yeah.
I put three quarters of the way. Yeah, I think no, in the middle, good.
No,
I don't know, I
like right
still
here
think
is pretty good.
Yeah. I think Akane's still. I don't know. I think she's still around street level, but I mean, if we want to say she's town,
Well,
maybe
remember, it's not
she's
just pure power, but
smarts.
also strategy and
control
stuff.
and prep, and you have-
smarts.
and also
Yeah.
able to keep this band of chuckle fucks together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Akane was the leader of the
so
group.
right. You're so right. Can you move it to state, actually?
Yes, you can take
No,
over
I
New
mean,
Mexico. with
Okay,
one
if
fell
we were
swoop.
to take that into account, Akane directing Seraph,
Akane
You know,
directed
that
it,
is
yeah.
true. Akane directs
Yeah.
Seraph. They could be higher.
Peak Akane includes peak Seraph.
bump us
But
up
I
a bit.
think- Yeah,
Nah,
I
we're
Okay.
think right now this is
good
good.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that brings me actually to the third member of your party.
Okay.
It's
I
you,
think
Renee.
Man.
I think
Um,
Shining Rose is at least as I think they're
I think they were the planner of the party, honestly, is the thing.
I would put them in. I think in between.
But also the flat strength bonus was pretty good.
Strength.
Because they could fist fight
yeah,
We
mannequin.
were all Dex.
Yeah.
everyone's Dex. Fox strength. Who needs
Yeah.
strength?
Who needs
Dex,
strength?
where it's
I would
at.
almost be tempted to
Put them
say that Renee would be high town, almost reaching city.
I
So
think
would you
I
Just,
would
say-
agree.
just because of the reach he has with how many people
Pure
know
cult of
Shining Rose.
personality?
But
yeah,
he
pure cult
he
of
is
personality
and
at least on
confidence.
par with Akane. In terms
I
of
would
power.
say
way
like
more.
like
I think way
above
stronger.
Seraph a little bit, but only like by 1 or 2.
Yeah,
And
I'd
then
say,
certainly more good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as good as Akane, I'd say.
Around there, I might say a little less just because of the whole his own version of justice thing.
True, but that also the thing is the most good and the most evil I would say is if you're all the way over on evil, you would absolutely kill a baby.
Oh, of course.
But if you're all the way
Mm.
if you're like getting on good, I think like halfway through you would go out of your way to save a baby or save a person, I'd say.
I mean, neutral. Seraph was willing to try to save a baby.
Yeah.
That is true.
Neutral,
So
you'd be
maybe
willing.
Well, I think that the midpoint would just mean you would go out of your way to save a baby, and then halfway through, you would go out of your way to save civilians.
I mean, I guess a good example is the fact that Renee went out of his way to save people many times in their fights.
Okay, so I'll
Yeah,
say
yeah.
like just a bare bit
Yeah.
less good.
Yeah.
And then maybe I would push Seraph like 1 or 2 towards.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah,
I
like
think on the O works, yeah.
yeah, and it honestly fits because you guys fit within the same power level because same party.
Yeah.
Then we have the skilled monkey, Shayla.
Shayla.
Ooh.
Oh, dear Shayla.
Well,
I think
if-
Shayla's just very comfortable in the middle of average.
Yeah,
I
baby
would
girl.
put her up a little bit higher.
Still in
yeah,
average,
say
though, I'd
higher
say.
average
Maybe a
because
little, yeah.
they could use their
Her
powers,
skill-
but their powers
With
are
her
very
skills and her
situational.
powers,
Yeah.
and
I
she
Also,
also
could.
she's-
put her down a little lower. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's
Uh,
their first day
yeah.
doing whistleblowing, so
That
Yeah,
feels
so
right to
it-
me. Maybe like 1 square higher, but still fine.
yeah, okay. And then like
yeah.
I put them pretty close to Kane levels of good. I put them at the same level as good as Renee.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And then there's the little ball of chaos.
Miha, Pixie.
Our little
I
damsel in
think
distress
I think Pixie thinks she's playable,
universe.
but yeah, universe. I think Pixie is definitely
I'd say she's like above Shayla. In
Yeah,
terms
just
of power.
one level above,
I-
just one level
I'd
above.
still say
Well, yeah,
average, but yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah, because the
I-
thing is that their planning is shit. Their plan is run into
Actually,
combat
can we bump
and
both
win.
of those down 1 square?
Oh,
Seeing where
God.
Pixie is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's more appropriate.
And Pixie a bit closer to Seraph.
Yeah, bring her down to old Auntie Seraph.
I think Pixie is
The chaos
definitely-
Oh, yeah,
I'd-
no,
I'd
she's
say
like-
Pixie's a little
I'd-
more evil than Seraph.
I'd say she's
Oh.
like on the
Yeah.
exact opposite side of where.
Yeah.
It's like
Because Seraph
well,
doesn't
she'd
go out
save
of
a.
her way to kill.
I feel like she'd save a baby.
because Akane
With-
told her to.
The thing is, she's a kid. She's like 12.
A very
or 13.
bloodthirsty kid.
Yeah,
To be
Jesus.
fair.
She doesn't realize the consequences of her actions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she
it
does
raises
crave
up the
violence,
question
yeah.
of how did she get this way, which will be filled out in the sequel.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're right. Because as soon as Pixie
Maybe.
started getting as soon as Pixie got hurt, they started freaking out, and you just saw
Yeah.
them be a kid.
And then
yeah, you're right.
she started to get better.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Toy Killer
Oh,
in
boy.
the actual form where she's not red.
I'm definitely saying Toy Killer should be at least at the bottom of town.
I can see that.
Really?
Oh,
Because her stuff
really?
was more situational than Shayla.
Yeah,
Low,
I
low
thought she
town,
was-
maybe average.
I think the portals aren't situational. Those are very useful.
Well, she's also kind of good at distraction. Because,
She's
you
good at
know,
He
the
fucking hijacked the
car.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like I don't know. I would.
I'd
would
say
no one
above
knows
the
he
two
did
of
it.
them.
Yeah.
Above the
No
two of
one
them,
knows.
slightly
Yeah.
in good alignment.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. I put Toy Killer there.
Yeah. Then someone without powers.
Oh, no.
But probably
Yeah,
a good example of how you could do it without Rollier. Because Rollier was doing this stuff while under house arrest.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's intelligent.
Okay.
Their intelligence, I would put them up like in
I'd
somewhere.
say town level, honestly.
I'd say town.
Low
Do we
town,
put
but yeah.
low town.
Probably,
bottom of
I'd
town.
honestly put them at the same level as Seraph.
If they had
Really?
access to
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
computers and better shit, they
Okay,
might
maybe
be
a
in
little
their
lower
state.
than Seraph.
Yeah.
I might say
Actually-
like Akane level.
Yeah, I think it maybe a Kane level.
Yeah,
'cause
and
they
then
didn't
I'll
work
put
it-
them.
Like I would be tempted to put them above Akane because Akane listened to them for a while, but
And
Akane
then
can
I'll
just
put
do more overall.
them-
Yeah, Akane definitely.
Rollier's
had
alignment is
Rollier.
my question.
Ah.
Because
They're doing
they
the
do
right
good,
thing.
but they're
Yeah.
kind of just. Well, they hate cops, which doesn't mean they're evil.
I think they're just a bit sassy. Doesn't mean they're not
Oh, yeah.
good.
I'd say put them
Also,
around
they-
Toy Killer.
Yeah, that feels
a
about
little
right.
more, a little more good. Yeah, a little more good. Maybe 4. Yeah,
Because they're
Yeah,
willing
yeah.
to break the law for a good
Well, they
cause.
were breaking the law.
Yeah, they were breaking the
Breaking
law.
the
Yeah.
law, breaking the law, boom, boom, breaking the law.
breaking the law.
Breaking the law. And then we have the mutant resistance, which didn't show up as much, but because Toy Killer was the only one that survived.
Unfortunately,
I'd say they're a
because they
little
didn't show up.
stronger than Toy Killer, just altogether.
Oh yeah, a little stronger than Toy. I think they're probably.
Burner
top
was
of
the leader,
average.
right?
Like bottom of town.
Yeah,
'Cause-
yeah.
Bottom of town. Yeah.
Because,
I don't
Tag
think they
can,
could do. Yeah.
Tag can fade into the background and Burner can make weird little things.
Yeah,
like,
but
they
I don't
could
think
make
they could do town. I think they're the top of average.
I
'cause-
was gonna
Yeah.
put Burner like right
Yeah.
above.
And then I put them like right near Pixie in terms of
Sure.
because
Sure,
they were piece of shit kids who were like they'd be gangsters of a small town if they didn't have Rollier to control them. Now we have an
Yeah.
actually interesting conundrum. Gamma.
Okay.
Oof.
Gamma
think-
is strong. Like
I think
you never
Gamma
fought them
City-
because they were so strong.
At
But
least
They're
City.
stupid.
At
But
least
well,
City.
they're not stupid. They're rapidly growing in intelligence, but they have no control over their powers.
Mhm.
I'd put
Yeah, but
on
I
the
think they take-
middle of city.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
bit above Mr. Tamper, yeah. And then I put them like right at neutral.
Yeah, just because
Maybe
they basically
leaning
had
a
no
little
I would
towards
option.
lean them. I would lean them a bit more good because they wanted to be good. They
By the
They
wanted
wanted
end
to
of-
be a superhero.
By
yeah,
the
yeah.
end of part 1, yeah,
Yeah. But like right at the start, it was I'm a fire in my laser.
they had no alignment
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, because they were a baby.
Yeah.
Fuck it. That seems about fair for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Then-
as
I
I
time
think
goes
it
on, they
could
will.
get to, I think Gamma could get to state level
Mhm.
eventually.
They
I-
will eventually become. I feel like with Prep and Mr. Warden in their power, they. By the way, John S. Warden isn't on this because you only barely
Mhm.
saw him, and he's a government
Yeah.
organization, so he's probably state level or country level.
Yeah, it's state or country. Yeah.
You don't know him yet.
If we had
But
gotten
either
the
way.
bad ending with Gamma and the power plant, maybe state.
Oh yeah, that was what. If it was the worst case scenario, nowhere would have been gone, and then the state of Sequoia would have been a Chernobyl problem.
Mm.
But, they turned out pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now we actually have an interesting one, because I don't actually know the answer to this.
Oh.
Constitution and the
Are we-
SLJ in general.
And the SLJ?
Is this
Is
for
it
all
in
of them or
general?
individually?
Well, the thing is, they're all roughly around the same level, because they're CR1 to CR2.
Are we saying all together or just individually?
As a group, I think we're saying as a
As
group.
a
a group,
Okay.
they gotta be
if
at
it's
least.
At least
State.
Hightown.
I feel like, yeah,
Bare
they
minimum.
would be the type to put something under martial law.
I think
I'd-
they're at least state, right?
I want to say at least state.
I can see
Really?
state. Maybe
would-
city if you really want to think
I feel
about
like-
it.
Upper city,
Yeah.
I
upper
feel like
city,
they'd
low
be
state.
low.
Upper city, low state.
I feel, well, it's the propaganda, that's the thing. Because they're
Well,
kind of
it's
built
also
up
the
as
fact that
the replacement
you-
to Lady Liberty.
Well, it's
you
the same
also
sort
have
of.
to. They have government backing as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, yeah, that is true. I'd say
They have-
that
they-
low city, in honesty.
I think
They have
they're.
Could
supply.
they beat Gamma? I don't
If
think
it's the whole group, yes, I think they
the whole
could.
group, yeah. I think the whole group could beat Gamma, but they would not.
It would-
They
they
would
would
go
not be
back. They
good.
would go. It would not be good. Their power would be reduced to probably town level.
Yeah.
And then
They
the
would
beat
city would
Gamma,
be
But
destroyed.
I think they could.
in
Yeah,
the
I think they could beat Gamma. I maybe put them too higher than Gamma.
Yeah.
Okay,
They would definitely
I'll
come
agree with that.
over
And then
Yeah.
that also brings alignment, because they're government, but they're also flag. Okay, let's look through it the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
American
just
Angel
go out
is
on a limb.
good, but they're corporate good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Constitution
Right
is
here.
tired of bullshit, but that doesn't mean that he's evil. I put them like neutral.
I would say
Flag
low.
Waver is plumb good. Like, he is a goody two shoes. Yeah, okay. I
I
put
would
them
say like a little past Rollier good.
yeah, okay, that's fair. Like, maybe like 1, 2.
I don't know. I think they have a mix.
As a group.
A very good as a group. They have a very big mix of personalities.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh,
as-
yeah.
but
Because
yeah.
you have the 2 foreigners, their bodyguard, the dude who was put in as an excuse because of Shining Rose, and then you have whatever page American Angel is, which we'll get to that. And then you have Flag Waver, who just won it because he got a lottery. I'd put him. I would put him a little like even to Gamma, honestly.
I can accept that.
Yeah. Now
Oh
the
no.
joke villain.
TKO in his lair was insane.
Oh, well, that's the thing. His original stat block was like CR4, and then for that, I've actually found a wrestler stat block, and that was CR8.
Oh jeez.
So, and I will fully excuse that as he was completely in control of the situation and he was in his element.
Now, are we looking at people when they're at their prime, at their element? Or just
That's
in
a
general?
Good question.
In the story,
I think it's
would
just in
agree.
general, so that would bump him down. I think he could possibly take over a town, because he kind of did. He was trying to raise them up into a frenzy to take down the renegades.
I can see mid to mid-high town.
Okay, that's fair. That's
yeah.
fair. And as for alignment, he ended up a little bit more good than I expected, because that was the thing.
Yeah.
He was either going to be pretty good, or he was going to join the Kidna Corp, and they would have, had him do stuff with the kids and evil
Oh,
stuff.
mutant TKO, I see.
Well, he's
Mm.
already a mutant, because he's got
Re-mutinized TKO.
Oh, that would have been fucked. That would have explained why he was CR8.
It would have.
I'd say he's at the same alignment level as Seraph.
For different reasons,
Honestly.
but yeah.
For completely different reasons, but yeah. A little bit higher because just pure cult of personality.
Yeah.
Ever so slightly higher than Shining Rose, because Shining Rose was sort of in question at that point.
Mhm.
See, if that fight would have happened, and if Seraph would have been the one to come out the challenge, Seraph would have gotten nowhere near him, just spammed unstable explosion on his ass.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have blamed you. I think he had a reaction based on that.
Yeah.
Basically, if you get
Well-
hit by a ranged attack, he smacks it. And
But
then
it wouldn't
the
have
guy's
been a
like,
ranged
"Oh,
attack.
no,
It would have been
frightened." Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a ranged attack. It was a dex save.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have the fucking Reaper Man.
I don't even know if I know enough to say anything there.
The thing is,
Uh,
he is strong,
Yeah.
but he's mercenary.
Like
He wouldn't want to take over a town.
the most we
Because-
saw of him
No.
was having to
If
flee.
he's hired I could see him being hired to topple a state,
True.
like topple a government type shit.
He is of that
Oh.
sort of level. The thing is,
Oh.
the only reason you fully did the encounter well, because it would have been a beaten down, drag out fight, is because of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the entire thing. You survived 3 rounds.
We survived long enough for someone to hold person him.
And then he gets hit
Yeah.
by a truck. And he survives, because of course he does. Yeah, I'd put him high town, low city.
Yeah, like maybe around Mr. Tamper, a little higher, a little lower.
Yeah, that fits. And then alignment, I put him eviler, but the thing is, he's an assassin.
I don't know about
Assassins-
his alignment though, because he's just been hired so far.
Yeah, and he's he was hired to kill a superhero and 2 people wanted by the law.
Yeah.
He's willing to do a lot. He did kidnap a kid, but the kid was the person who was organizing the whole operation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he would have killed the kid. I think he would have probably had them arrested.
He did also want to just kill me at one point.
Yeah, but that's because you were the one that he missed.
Yeah.
I'd put him right here.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
Maybe a little bit higher in strength, just because he owns himself. He's owned by the Murder League, but he's of more control of himself than Mr. Tamper by far.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he could kill Gamma, but it would be tough. Because he'd have to
need prep time.
Mm-hmm.
He would need absolute prep time.
He would need to know what he's getting himself into
Yes.
and have a thing that would be a surefire way to stop him.
Yeah.
Yes. And now, hey, it's the one guy that died.
Oh no.
This little robot here. It's Devote and the Nowhere Police Department.
Oh, the entirety of the police. I feel like that doesn't change much.
Sucked is the thing. They weren't that much of a threat. They were an obstacle.
Yeah.
But
I'd say
then
high
again,
tower
he
could
did
be the
wrest
main-
control kind of from the sheriff, because the sheriff was in hospital because you blew him up.
I'm gonna say right here,
Where?
I'm pinging in Hightown.
Hightown,
Oh, yeah.
close to the evil.
Hightown.
Yeah.
And I would say his alignment is a little bit past Tamper, because he was 100% willing to do shit.
You said it was the entirety of the police force.
Oh yeah, that's true. So yeah. But of course, I would say if it was really his alignment, he'd be past Mr. Tamper.
Oh yeah.
He's, a piece of shit who was willing to do a lot to get the fuck out of nowhere and get famous and shit. Well, more just get a higher position outside of the podunk town.
Higher than deputy.
Higher than deputy. Yeah. And with that, hey, we're back to more Kidnap Corp shit.
Oh boy, Manticore.
Manticore.
Um,
Brainwashed until fits.
What state of Manticore are we looking at here?
I'm assuming when he was enemy.
I think, because if we're doing post fixing, he's still
He'd be a lot
separate head.
weaker.
Yeah, he would be below average.
Yeah.
Low average. But if this is him at fighting level,
I would
think he would be at
somewhere in town, but it's hard to say because he was also being very much controlled.
Yeah, I'd put him above
would put him
Akane, but
somewhere-
below Seraph, in this little spot right here.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And then I'd put him right here. 'Cause he's
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
and,
No real free will.
yeah, and when he eventually did come around, he was RoboCop. He was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That one's at least kind of easy. Then after that, it's one who was brainwashed but kind of evolved because of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
think
your
he
boy
goes-
Chasey Poo.
I think
There's
he
the
goes
boy.
top of town.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
admittedly, I think he's the best example of what you can do with just enhanced strength and speed and also minor fire.
Yeah,
AoEs were fucking crazy.
yeah. His AoE went nuts.
And then definitely closer
Yeah.
to Mr. Tamper, if not further.
Further. He fully
Yeah.
revels
He
in
must
his
go
evil.
further
Yeah.
beyond.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of a development / coping with. Wow, our background was shit. I'm getting fully into this job because
Well,
now
yeah,
I get to escape that bullshit.
But it's still his own
You could-
choices to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
you can
is.
justify it all you want, but I still think it's
yeah.
it's still evil's still evil. Justifications aside, I put him in the middle.
A little
Yeah,
bit
put him-
further.
I don't
Yeah, a
think
little
he'd kill. I
further.
think he'd hesitate killing a baby.
Good?
He'd hesitate. That's the thing.
Well,
He'd
yeah, because he'd be
hesitate.
like,
Yeah.
He'd be like,
What?
Fuck it.
I
Because
guess
it was
so.
kind of nebulous if he was also a cannibal like the Remutant is.
Yeah.
Like he joked about it, but he never really did it.
Mhm.
Okay, I know that the question is about Dr. Reed's is not if she's evil. It's if she's more evil than a kid in a corpse.
She did some really messed up experiments.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
absolutely. By far. And it's kind of man, if she survived.
The question is, above or below Gamma?
Good
I mean,
question.
she
Because it's also the Remutant eyes she has.
She went down very easily herself, but everything
Well,
that
yeah,
was
'cause,
beneath her.
well, the thing is, if she made it to her turn, she could have pulled some shit. But
Oh, I'm
you
sure.
basically
She had
hyper-focused
cruise
on her.
control.
Because if
If she had access to her Legion of the Undead machines,
that was enough to take over the town, basically, almost.
Very well
Yeah,
could be.
I'd put her up in like high town, maybe low city.
Same level as Tamper?
Yeah.
Yeah, if not one above.
And then I'll put her way over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No question.
All the way to. Well, the question is, what is this level? Is that the full baby killing level? Or
No,
is
you
that
can,
like...
you can keep her where she is, because otherwise she'll be off the stream.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna argue something
Ha.
from the actions that were shown. Shockley is less evil than Dr. Reed's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he is doing it to try to help, like in his own messed up way. He's trying to help.
He is, because yeah, his whole thing is I want to improve the people who are sick because it's, he was fucked over.
He's not good, but he's less evil.
Oh no, I would argue
No.
he's like over here alignment,
Mhm.
like almost a Tamper,
Yeah.
maybe a Death Warrant, but
I
the
think a
thing is-
little not. I wouldn't say as bad as Death Warrant.
Well, yeah, but that also brings up some. You
Between
know what?
him and the
I'm gonna
deputy?
I put
Yeah, I think-
well, deputy.
Right.
What
Yeah,
that
it's
also
same
brings up
level as
something.
Deputy. Yeah.
The slight twist at the finale from what he was saying. Why did you come back?
Yeah.
Like he,
Then I would put him. Then I'd probably put him like a little to the left, one left of the deputy. Then.
yeah. As for power,
Hmm.
I put him above the deputy,
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
but I don't. I think he could deal with Gamma, not face to face. I think he.
Well,
I'd put him
he's
at
the
the
one who
same level as-
created Gamma,
He did
technically.
create. Yeah, he did create.
Well, yeah,
Gamma,
because
and-
I put him, like at Death Warrant level. Like he could
Yeah.
have some serious problems for a city. And then
Mhm.
finally, we haven't fully gotten to this yet, and it will be revealed more. I think it'll split off by the time of the sequel.
This is
It's the
Amaranth.
corporation and Miss Amaranth as representative.
Oh, the corporation is. I
Gotta
think
be
it's
it.
country minimum
Yeah.
state. I think it is country level.
Yeah. I put them squarely in between Chimera and, her.
Mm-hmm.
But would it be low? Would it be? It would be the minimum would be mid-state.
Yeah, I think they're the most evil because they're
Well,
maybe
the
they're
thing
like
is,
two. They're because they've
they hired
enabled
her,
Reeds. Yeah,
but do you think that their intent?
We don't know enough.
negligence.
It had to be their intention because they made Operation Orpheus
Yeah.
Well, I
or
mean,
Project
they
Orpheus.
might not see. It might also be just that it got approved and not like because it's a corporation. You don't know
Well, yeah.
everything in it, and they might not like. Some people are like, yeah. They've been doing good work. Let them have their project, whatever, and no one's actually paying
I mean,
attention. to them.
apathy's still
The devil's
apathy.
plaything,
The face,
Apathy,
yeah.
yes, but it's not pure.
And then they also did Operation Echidna too.
I don't know. I think.
Echidna.
Oh yeah, and you know what they did too. Yeah, they're definitely like maybe one removed from evil. One.
I would say, yeah, like they're pretty bad.
Yeah,
I put them. I put them
right here. I put them right here.
Really, more than Reed's?
Yeah, because I'm thinking what they did to. I mean, just me knowing what with Akane's backstory, like that's pretty fucked.
The thing is, the problem is the reason why they're a little bit less. They never got their hands dirty. They always got somebody else to do.
I think that's even arguably more evil. They're still funding.
Yeah, you're right. I'll put them like
yeah.
one more than.
Yeah, I would argue too, but as long as they're more evil than Reeds, yeah.
Of course, when we get to why they're doing it, which we'll get to that.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
it makes it a little bit more complicated, but it's still pretty fucking evil if they're kidnapping and resurrecting dead people.
Yeah.
But either way, hey, that's actually a pretty even spread.
Yeah.
Lowest to highest. Shayla is at the lowest. I didn't expect that.
Kind of did, yeah.
I thought Shayla would probably be lowest, and
maybe and yet they're the person who spread the information.
Yeah, they were, but that's like their main.
It's almost the only thing.
Yeah, they were mostly at the base dealing with the information.
Tech Dart.
Yeah.
Tech Dart was cool.
Yeah, and then you guys sort of center around town level, and then most of the people you dealt with were at town/low city, and then we just got a Echidna Corp all the way up there.
I just wanted to notice. I'm not going to include the SLJ on our side, but I just want to point out, just right here. We're on all the lower end.
There you are. That's the boy.
And then we were definitely out kicking our coverage here. Like we were getting a lot of times we were getting our asses handed to us.
Isn't that how most superheroes always punching up?
And yet, despite it all, you got the best ending.
Yeah, we definitely earned it because we were struggling.
We worked for it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we will see the ramifications of that as the first actual event in the entire game, in the entire ICTU, is the exposure of Echidna Corp and the ramifications of that for the next few campaigns. Because it's going to be
for good.
Yeah, it's like I feel it's like it's on the level of like Monsanto, or maybe, but like with the slight vibe of like finding out that Lunchley has lead in it, like a mix of those two. It's like the vibe of the Lunchley thing, but with the running effects of Monsanto. So we will see how that sort of comes to it.
I want to compare Lunchley to what they're doing. They're doing so much worse.
Bro, try out the new GAC. True, they did experiment on live human beings and dead ones. Bro.
They drug people and against their will. They do a lot of they do a lot of bad.
Not sponsored.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
they're
sponsored.
at least as bad as BetterHelp. But hey, we'll get into more of that. I believe this is from what I know so far. It seems like for a Crumbling Legacy, we've got both Skylar and Joey.
Mm-hmm.
Then for Lost in the Unknown, we've got all three of you. And then I don't know for the other two.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think both of you are in rebellious phase, so yeah, we'll figure out how this all goes. It'll become a fun little adventure.
Yeah.
I believe. You guys got it.
I
Tons of fun. Thanks for having me, guys. My first foray on. Actually, no. Technically, my first thing on this channel was like a really old Ravnica campaign.
Oh
for
yeah, I
others.
think that one's like on there.
I tried to watch that. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much. I can't tell what's going on.
Yeah, no,
Like,
no.
sounds awful.
It was nice to have you back.
It was
Yeah,
lovely
I'm
to have
glad.
you on. You were a wonderful
Yes.
player. You all
Thank
were
you. You
wonderful
guys-
players.
You guys were great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always great to hang out with you guys. I'm really glad I got to do this.
Yeah, hopefully we
It
get
was
to
a
do this sort
refreshing
thing
change of
again.
pace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mix things up.
yeah. Hopefully we get to have you on again.
Yes.
But until then, I want to say thank you to all the people watching. The first episode got up to like 100 views. Like,
Woo.
Oh shit! Really?
yeah. It tapers down as you go along, but that's
That always
everything.
does.
Oh yeah. It's,
It always
yeah.
does.
And it picks up at the end.
Unless you're a certain unnamed series on this channel, which for some reason is almost always in the hundreds, don't know why.
Well, yeah, but that's because people like Toho.
I don't get it.
And it shot up in the middle,
Yeah.
not in the
Yeah,
beginning.
that confuses me to this very day. But either way, thank you all so much for watching, and stay tuned because we got some more Idea Comics Tabletop Universe stuff coming your way. But until then, is there anything that the party would like to say?
Look forward to the porn parody.
Thank
God
you guys
damn
so much for having me.
I was going to say something very similar. You beat me to it.
Of course,
Oh,
same
thank you.
brain cell. But until then, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next time in the next campaign. Goodbye.
Bye.
Peace.